Calvin Castine, I'm going to be off camera, but this young lady here will be on camera with some of the most important news you're going to hear probably in the weeks to come. This will be something that if you're watching this on the internet, you're going to want to share it with everybody you know in the 518 and the 315 area codes. And if you're watching this on cable television, you're going to want to take notes and spread the word to all your family and friends, because starting shortly, everyone in the 518, and as we learned recently also the 315 area codes, if you're making a local call, you're going to have to dial the area code to call your next door neighbor. And this is whether you've got a cell phone, a tablet, or whatever. But we're going to let Vicki Marking, the marketing manager, marketing director at Champlain Telephone Company and PrimeLink, tell us about this. But this is affecting everybody, not just the Champlain Telephone and PrimeLink customers. So I'll let Vicki take it away, and if I have to interrupt her once in a while with a question, I'll do that. But otherwise, you'll just be listening to Vicki with a very important message for everyone. Go ahead, Vic.
Thank you, Calvin. As Calvin said, this is a change that's really going to affect everybody in the 518 area code, and actually in the 315 area code as well. But for us, the 518 area code, which encompasses everything basically from the Canadian border all the way south of Albany. 518 area code is a very big area. And basically, come mid-August, August 19th to be exact, the Federal Communications Commission is making it mandatory that in order to place a call within the 518 area code, you will have to dial 10 digits, meaning that you will now have to also dial the area code plus the 7 numbers that you would normally dial to call somebody locally. It's not going to change. It's not going to change how numbers are charged. It doesn't mean that people are now going to be charged, to call their next door neighbor. The reason this is happening is simply because there's a number shortage, to put it very, I guess that's the simplest way to look at it. There's a number shortage in the 518 area code. When everybody starts to think about how many people have, people still have landlines, but so many people have cell phones, sometimes multiple cell phones. Sometimes they have tablets that have service associated with them. So people have lots of phone numbers that have been assigned to them. And basically that explosion in phone numbers is what's causing the shortage. There are basically no more numbers to give out, no more unique numbers in the 518 area code to give out. So what New York State is doing is they're calling it area code overlay, is what you will hear it called, and hopefully you'll hear more about it in the media, and you certainly, if you're a Champlain Telephone customer, will hear about it, on your bills and in mailings and on our Facebook pages, because we're trying to do as much as we can to educate people. Basically, the overlay means that as new people come into the area and get phone numbers assigned to them, rather than getting a 518 number, they will now get an 838 number. That'll be the new area code that is being used in that what always was the 518 region. So a couple of dates to remember. Starting in mid-March, March 18th to be exact, the Federal Communications Commission is strongly encouraging people to start using the 10-digit formula, start dialing everybody they call with the area code plus the 7-digit number, just to get used to it, right? This is a hard habit to break. We all, for the most part, for our whole lives, have been dialing 7 digits to call the people next door, to call anybody locally. So from March until August, it'll be what they call the permissive dialing phase. They'll allow people, they're encouraging people to do it, but if you forget, your call will still go through. Once we get to that magic date of August 19th, from that point forward, if you forget to dial the area code and only dial the 7 digits, your call will not go through at that point. The good thing is that you will get a message saying you must dial the area code before placing this call. So at least it'll be a reminder. The call will not just not go through. There will be a message there reminding people of what they need to do and why the call hasn't been completed. So it's going to be very, very different. Starting in September, once we go through that permissive phase of dialing, and then we, in August, basically force people into starting the 10-digit dialing. Then starting in mid-September, new people coming into the area, or people getting new numbers of any sort, it doesn't necessarily have to be new people coming into the area, may start getting assigned those 838 area code numbers. So it will be very different. Basically, Calvin and I were sitting here and talking off camera beforehand, you pretty much will be dialing a 10-digit number even if you're calling the person that lives next door to you, that you've called forever, and you've both had the same phone number your whole life. Now you'll have to dial that 10 digits. For businesses, there are some kind of extra things to keep in mind, I want to say, in that if sometimes businesses have things that are automated, like security lines, for instance, anything that makes an automatic call-in of any sort, anything that's pre-programmed to call into something. I encourage businesses to think about those kinds of things and make sure that anything that's pre-programmed to dial something also is pre-programmed to have that 10 digits in there, that the area code is also included. Because those things will no longer work again after that August cutoff date. If they're not programmed to dial with the 10 digits, they'll no longer complete the call. On top of that, businesses again should think about things like their marketing materials, like ads, business cards, those kinds of things. Everything will have to include an area code on them, because with time, people won't necessarily know if it's a 518 area code or an 838 area code. So the sooner that we basically start thinking about these kinds of things and getting ready and educating ourselves going forward, I think the easier the transition will be. I think it's important to note that it affects everybody, no matter who your telephone provider is. It'll affect cell phone carriers. It'll affect every single telephone provider in this area. Anybody basically that covers the 518 area code is going to have to jump on board with the 10-digit dialing. Not something that we're not necessarily excited about, just because it's a difficult education process. It's very different for people to get used to. But at the same time, we're going to try to do our best to educate our customers as quickly as we can and help them to kind of embrace the change and get used to the new process.
So you said 10 digits, so like right now from Champlain we can call Plattsburgh, New York, and dial 561 or 562 or whatever, and get through. But if I'm calling Albany, I think I have to use the 1 and then the phone number. So if you're calling a toll area, you'll have to dial the 1 and then the area code.
Yep.
So it's going to affect you there. Now, a company that's like here in Champlain and Rouse's Point, you got 298, 297, Moore's Altona has 236. Chances are you haven't used up all your numbers yet. So are you still going to be forced to use the 838s even though you've got numbers available?
Not necessarily. If we have numbers available, we can still give those numbers out, but they'll still have to be dialed in the same manner. But yes, if we have numbers available, we won't be stopped from giving those out. Whatever we have available, we can make available to people.
So it's happening as we said, in the 518 area code, which is not that far above. It looks like it goes down almost halfway between the big city of New York and Albany, so almost halfway down through there, and then all the 315 goes south of Syracuse. So yes, those folks will be getting the effect of this also, and those are the people we want to reach.
Absolutely, it's affecting basically, geography-wise, more than half of the state of New York.
Yeah, between the two area codes.
Absolutely.
Now, this is a Federal Communications Commission that determines this, or who does that? Who's the one that decided
It
this?
does. It comes from the FCC, and then we have a New York State organization that basically helps us with most of the educational materials and everything. We're fortunate to have a New York State Telephone Association that basically helps the providers that belong to that association in terms of helping them to educate their customers and helping to provide materials, and they'll be sending out press releases along with the individual telephone companies. So the good thing is there's a lot of organizations that are working together to get the word out to the consumers.
Now, probably most people, maybe not all the people, but have some kind of a plan where they get free long distance, if not totally, at least up to a certain amount, so they won't be concerned about it. But even if you're paying, the numbers, as you said earlier, and I think we want to emphasize this,
Yes.
the numbers that you don't pay for now, you won't pay for in the future,
That's
even though
correct.
you're dialing those extra 3 digits.
So a lot of people do have, as you said, a lot of people do have unlimited calling plans these days. But if for some reason, if you don't, there are some people that don't, it won't change what the costs of anything. Just because you're dialing the 518 area code, anything that you didn't pay for as a toll call before will still not be a toll call. The only things that will count as toll calls, none of the payment portion of this changes in any way. It's really just about the numbers and the number combinations that are available, which is why we have to do this.
Now, you said that this is something people have been doing all their lives. Well, maybe all your life.
Okay, all my life.
But I'm old enough to remember when our phone number at home when I was a kid was 11Y11. You know, so, and then if you wanted to call somebody, you dialed the big 0 and you went, Central, can you give me such and such a number?
Yeah.
But in the past 60 years, let's say 50, 60 years, this is the way we've been doing it. And it's certainly going to be a huge change, and I imagine the older you are, the more you're going to have to think about this. Yeah.
I agree. It's a hard I mean, even for the people that do remember having done it a different way, it's become so much just a part of what we do. That 7-digit dialing has been around so long that it is. I actually wish that we had even more time to talk to people about this before it actually started getting implemented. Just because it's a big change. It's something that people really they're going to have to think about doing.
Yeah, you can't just say it doesn't affect me, because it's going to affect you. Now, it's not going to affect you if you're calling 911 or any of those things. It's just
Right.
regular
Nope, that
phone
will.
numbers. So
Yep.
don't worry about emergency calls.
Yeah,
You can
emergency calls
still
will
do
not
those.
change. 911 will be exactly the same as it has always been. But, I was saying to people, even for the people that use their cell phones all the time, right? Almost all of us probably have contacts in our cell phones, and we don't even dial the number probably on our
push the
cell phone.
button.
We just push the button for the person's name that we want to call. Well, now you're going to have to make sure that in that contact number that you have that person set up with 518 and then their number. Like if you went through and put your contacts in with just, let's say, the 561 exchange or the 236 exchange, that won't necessarily work, or that will not
It
work.
won't- Yeah, no,
You're going to have to go through. I said for myself, I'm going to be going through
every one of them.
every one of my contacts and
Unless
looking
they're-
at them.
Unless they're already long and out of it.
Exactly, unless they're already a long distance number, you may not have put them in that way. So it's just things for people to think about that they normally wouldn't have to.
Okay, we're doing this on the day before Valentine's Day, February 13th. I see that you're saying this change will begin on March 18th, so you can't do this before March 18th? I tried it today at one.
I was just going to say, nope, March 18th is the first day that you can actually, you can start making the calls. And basically between that March 18th and August 19th is I want to call it the practice period, because they'll allow people to do, your calls will go through with that 10-digit dialing, but they'll also go through if you forget. So it's an attempt to get people in the habit of doing it, but still allowing their calls to go through. August 19th is kind of that hard stop date where then if you forget the area code, the call won't go through, but you will get, most providers will be putting a message up that says, your call did not go through. You must dial the area code before dialing this number.
They won't say, hey, stupid, do you?
It'll give you a reason why your call didn't go through, which at least is helpful in saying, oh, that's right. I need to do that.
Okay. So we're going to come back and recap her. I've heard some buzzing here for quite a while, so I don't know if Vicki's got a call coming in that she needs to take, but we're just going to come right back and finish this up. All right, we are back. Vicki had 18 important calls to answer while we were off. But we do want to emphasize that this is very important for anybody who has any type of a phone in the 518 and also in the 315 area code. We're talking here with Vicki Marking from the Champlain Telephone Company and PrimeLink. But this is affecting everybody, so we appreciate her doing this as kind of becoming the spokes lady here for all of 518 and 315. So it's quite an accomplishment here for you, Vicki. You're speaking for the...
Well, it's important. We want to make sure that everybody, including our customers,
especially
kind of know what to expect.
Especially your customers.
Especially our customers, but everybody. I want everybody to know what to expect when this comes about.
Yeah, so if you're anywhere in the 518, if you have family, friends, enemies in the 518 or 315, make sure they get this information, and you're saying it's also available.
Yep.
Besides this video, where?
This actually, the sheet that you've got that Calvin's been panning on. This information sheet's available on our website, www.champlaintelephone.com. You can find it right on the home page. You can click on it, print it, share it with people. I would encourage you to do that. It's also available at the New York State Public Service Commission's website, which is www.dps.newyork.gov. You'll find basically the same information there as you'll find on our website. It's this nice informational sheet that gives all of the key dates in this process and kind of the expectations and some of the things that we have been talking about. And we would be happy, if people have questions, please give us a call. We are more than happy to be a community resource for people that are kind of, if anybody's confused or has questions about how this is all going to come about or how it might affect them personally. Feel free to give us a call at the Champlain Telephone Office.
So once again, you have to make that call, and the other important part of this is each of those two areas, the 315 and 518 areas, are also going to have a second area code. Mm-hmm. So we're not going to be able to call this the 518 area code area anymore, will we?
No, it'll be the 518-838, and 315's new area code is going to be 680. So, it'll take time. We'll have mostly 518 numbers for a long time, but who knows what it'll look like, 5 years, 10 years from now. We'll probably have as many 838 numbers as we have 518.
Well, I can see people in the future calling the wrong person, because it's possible somebody's let's call my hometown cable number 298-4663. Someone's probably going to have an 838.
Yep, absolutely. Very possible. Mm-hmm.
So they could, somebody who wants to call me and doesn't have the right area code, or wants to call them and doesn't have the right area code, could end up calling the wrong place.
Yep.
So
absolutely possible.
So that's for those people in the distant future to worry about, but for right now, this is what we have to worry about. And again, we thank you, Vicki Marking, for taking this time to explain this to everybody.
No problem.
And if there's nothing else, we'll just...
I don't think so. I was just going to say, if people, if people have questions, I would encourage them to visit the website and take a look at it. For our customers, the information will be shared through our billing statements. I'm hoping that you will see more. I appreciate you doing this, Calvin, to help getting the word out, and hopefully there's been a few small newspaper articles. Hopefully there'll be more to come. Our goal is to reach as many people as possible, to get the word out so that people are prepared.
Yeah, so now with social media, if you're seeing this, start sharing it with social media.
Yep, absolutely.
Some people pay more attention to the social media than they do the real media. Mm-hmm. So
Very
This is
true.
the way to get it to them.
Very true. You will see some stuff on our Champlain Telephone Facebook page too that we're there'll be a series of kind of teasers and
Right.
trying to encourage people to go to the website and find out more. So
Yeah, and again, specifically for the Champlain telephone customers, they'll be in their bill, but if you have questions, you can call or you can stop in here.
absolutely, anytime.
When you're paying your bill, stop in and
Yep.
ask a question.
Yep,
You want-
absolutely. We would completely encourage that.
All right. Thank you, Vicki.
Thanks, Calvin.